Hi, it's Tuesday night at 6:30, so it's time for What We're Reading. Tonight, I brought you a whole party. Say hello to the brand new crew at the Amy Van Andel Library in Ada. Say hi, everybody together. Hi! So we're going to take this clockwise and start with Miss Sarah in the upper corner there. Sarah is an assistant branch librarian at the Amy Van Andel branch. So come in and see Sarah. Sarah, what are you reading?
I am reading The Lost Apothecary. Let me find where it is. There it is. It's the debut novel by Sarah Penner. And it tells two different stories. Like it goes back and forth between two stories. The first story is set in 1700s London. It is Nella, the apothecary in question, who she has this like secret hidden apothecary where she doles out poisons for women who need to get rid of the troublesome men in their life. And
don't drink anything Sarah gives you ever.
That's fair. And then it fast forward a couple centuries later, it's modern day London. Time is kind of forgotten about Nella and all of that. And we meet Caroline, who is in London on what was supposed to be a anniversary trip, and turned out to be not an anniversary trip. Spoilers, except it's not. But she ends up finding this vial that was from Nella's apothecary, and she's looking it up, like, what is this? And there's like an offhand reference to poisoning. And she's like, what? I've never heard of that. And she just uses the skills that she acquired studying history in college and starts to uncover the mystery. And we go back and forth as, we kind of, through Nella telling her story, as well as Caroline doing research, we get the bigger picture of all that happened. There's parallels between the characters. It's and also Caroline finds a very good ally in a character who is a librarian. So using I was like, yeah, solving mysteries with research. That's where it's at.
Hold it up one more time for us, Sarah. The Apothecary. Lost Apothecary.
By Sarah Penner. Such a pretty cover, too.
So
pretty. And her name is Sarah, too.
Yeah.
So we're going to move over to the center square. None of you are old enough to understand that reference.
Circle gets the square.
Over to Liz, our youth librarian, who is dying to do story time for all of the kiddos in Ada. But for now, she's going to have to tell us one or two best picture books to read right now.
Okay.
Liz.
I do. I actually have 4, but I'm not going to do all of them myself. So the first one I brought to share is called Hello, Hello. It's by Brendan Wenzel. And I read this at a rhyme time online. That I love books that rhyme, and this one does a great job. But I'm going to show you the end papers first. So there's kind of silhouettes of all of the animals. And then if you
that would be cool wallpaper.
Ooh,
I know. It's very beautiful. So Hello, Hello. It goes through some concepts, black and white. I'm not going to read the whole thing, I promise. But hello, color, hello, bright. So there's a little animal at the end of every page. And when you turn the page, you see the animal on the next page.
Ooh.
So you do like a seek and find as you go through. Oh my gosh, look at this one. This page is great.
Oh, he's so cute.
I love whale sharks.
Don't get into his law because we'll have to take it down because of copyright laws. So
Oh no.
I'll show you the whole thing. It's a great story. great. And at the end, the all of the animals are numbered. So you can go through, if you see an animal that looks kind of interesting, you can go through and find that animal, and then maybe you can look up some more information about them. So
what is that?
it rhymes, you'll learn a little something, and it's super fun to read out loud. So Hello, Hello by Brendan Wenzel.
Oh, I love it.
Great.
It was great. Can I do one more?
Yes, by all means.
Actually, two, but it's the same author, so it's kind of cheap. This is Love Makes a Family and Kindness Makes Us Strong. So these are both by Sophie Beer. And they're board books, but I don't know if you can tell, they're big board books, which is very exciting. Beautiful illustrations, it's bright, it's colorful, and shows all kinds of families in both of the books. And Love Makes a Family and Kindness Makes Us Strong are great read alouds for little people, and they're big board books.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm all done.
Fabulous. Thank you, Liz.
Yay.
Over in the upper right, we have Miss Angie, another one of our assistant branch librarians. She was formerly from the Lowell branch, so you might recognize her from there. Angie, what are you reading?
Well, I just finished The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, and it's a memoir. It's a really good read, but it's a really hard subject. It's like it starts out with she's in a New York City cab. She's dressed up to go to a gala event, and she looks out the window in the rain, and there's a woman digging through a dumpster, and it's her mother. And her parents are homeless, living in New York, and she's a successful writer. And it that's the first image you get in the book, and then the first real chapter takes you like back to the very beginning of basically her childhood. And one of the first scenes that you see from her childhood is she loves hot dogs, and she loves her pink tutu, and she's in the kitchen cooking hot dogs, and she's on fire because her mom is nowhere to be seen. Her mother is like, and she comes out screaming, and she's on fire, and they like wrap her up, and they don't have a car. It's like one little disaster after another. And it was just really hard to kind of like see the parenting that or the lack of parenting going on in the story. But the way that she tells the story is through like this innocence of herself as a child. It's like you don't realize this is normal. So like you don't have any, negative feelings towards your parents. This is just life. So, there are no grudges held, but all the things that they go through in their lifetimes because of the choices of their parents. It's so hard as a parent myself to see, because it's downright neglect and abuse, in so many ways. And it's just, I have a very hard time with that topic personally. And so but the way she handles it in the book is like, she doesn't get caught in like being a victim of it. She ends up, kind of just telling the story as it is and leaving you to decide, like your own judgment of it. She's not judgy of it at all. Whereas I was very judgy of the parents.
Now, Angie, isn't that one of our core titles at Ada?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So at Ada, we're trying out these core books, and the ones you'll find here have a core designation on the side, and those are the 100 books for adults that we've gotten together as a library and decided are the most popular and loved and also well-regarded books. So if you're looking for a good book, look for that core label. And Angie found one of them. Yep. Good, but very hard, agreed, to read.
Yes. So
anyway. And now, under Angie, we've got In the Starlight, Julia, one of our fabulous.
Hello.
Hello, Julia. What are you reading?
I am currently reading Wicked Fox by Cat Cho. It is a teen sci-fi fantasy novel. Got a little romance subplot in there as well. It's based in Korean mythology, so kind of like urban fantasy type vibe. So think like Percy Jackson type thing, but with Korean mythology. And it's set in Seoul, South Korea. And the main character, Mi Young, she is what is called a gumiho, which is a nine-tailed fox, a creature in Korean mythology. And she meets a boy named Ji-hoon, and adventures ensue. I'm not very far into it, but it's very, very good. Very, very fun and interesting to kind of learn.
Sounds it. Julia, would you recommend that for your kiddo who's read all of the Rick Riordan's?
Yes, I would. I am a big Percy Jackson fan. Big fan of that stuff. So, I love urban fantasy. So definitely, if you're into that type of thing, would highly recommend.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah.
And in the bottom center square, we have Stacy. Stacy's another one of our assistant branch librarians. Hi, Stacy. It's so nice to see everybody without masks. I feel like I don't recognize you. So, Stacy, what are you reading?
I am currently reading Mary Oliver's Upstream. It's a collection of her essays. And I was first introduced to Mary Oliver, who's a pretty well-known American poet, who's really inspired by nature, through her pretty popular poem called Wild Geese. And there was a line in Wild Geese that I was going to share that hit me pretty hard a few years ago when I was doing a lot of reflection and questioning of my beliefs. And it said, "Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination." And she is a poet who I think is really inspired, or was inspired by, just walks alone in the woods. And so her poems resonate really deeply with me, because that's where I found a lot of healing, was going for walks in the woods by myself. So I picked up this book recently because I felt like I really needed some grounding and wanted to explore some more of her writing. And it's been really great. She talks about how she found a friend in Walt Whitman when she was younger because of her family life. She just found that when she was younger, she didn't feel like she fit in, and just really wanted to do some searching for herself. So I've loved it because a few years ago, when I was doing that questioning, I left a job and went and started farming on organic vegetable farms and found a real deep connection with the soil and the woods and the birds, and that time alone. So yeah, I just love her writing, and it puts me back in nature, especially when you can't get outdoors. During the winter, it can be a little bit long. So it's kind of fun to have her write about the turtles and, the foxes and nature in general. So I've been loving it. It's a good read.
Yeah, so, Stacey, you fell in love with her poems, and now it's a book of essays. Does the subject matter stay the same? Just the format is different?
Throughout, yeah, pretty primarily. I mean, she just is an observer of nature, and kind of links her own suffering, I think, with that a little bit. Upstream, like in the beginning, she essentially talks about going upstream and how she found that even though she was going upstream, she felt like she was still headed toward the source, meaning that there's always going to be difficulties. At least this is how I interpret it. But that's what, makes your life more full. And I think that holds true for me for sure, is that as hard as some things can be, it's made me feel more alive. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Very nice. We're going to finish with me. I am currently reading Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. And primarily because this is our Amy Van Andel Library A to Zoom book club book. And in case you're not familiar with that, we have a Zoom book club that we just started at the library. We can't meet in person yet. It's going to be a lot more fun when we can meet in one of these beautiful meeting rooms and talk about these books in person. But for now, we're doing it on Zoom, and we meet the fourth Friday of every month at noon. And this, the March 26th, we're talking about Between the World and Me. And this is also one of our core books that I was talking about before with Angie's book. So it's one that is a very popular book that's well liked right now. And I'm sure you've seen a lot and read a lot. I've been reading a lot, trying to unlearn things and learn things that I didn't know about racism, trying to educate myself. And this is a beautiful example of that. Even if, okay, I've read 5 of these now, which sometimes it can feel like this one hit me differently because it is so personal. It is a letter from a father to his son. And it's so intimate, it almost feels like I shouldn't be reading it. You know what I mean? It's a letter between these 2 men about something I know nothing. And he's really honest and frank about it and talks about the real humiliation that he can feel as a result of racism and what has happened. He talks about it as having his body taken away from him so that it's not his anymore, and how that makes a man feel. So, I mean, it's very intense. Like Angie, you were saying, it's difficult to read The Glass Castle because of the intensity of the emotions, and sometimes it's hard to have that negative thing. And so it is a tough read, and especially this year, sometimes it's hard to read these tough reads anymore. So I understand that, but this one is a great one. And strangely, it was written in 2015, and it feels just perfect for 2020. You know what I mean? So check it out. Check out the rest of our book club picks. We're booked up through the month, so check them out. But Liz, do you have one more?
Of course I do.
I want to end on another picture book.
First, that's my jam, is picture books. So this is Crocodiles Need Kisses Too.
Perfect.
I know.
That is perfect.
Like, everybody was very serious. I was like, I don't know. But it's a front to back book. So in story time, we always open up our picture books to see if the picture goes from the front to the back. And it does. So that automatically elevates this book. But it goes through different animals. Even though porcupines have quills, porcupines need kisses too. And so it goes through. There was one picture I had a hard time with because it had spiders in it. So,
but they're cute spiders. They're like cute spiders.
Tarantulas need kisses too. So, it's a fantastic book. And at the end, the crocodile is actually somebody having a little bit of a temper tantrum. So that gives you a moment to talk about. Even when you are throwing your body on the floor, you still need kisses. I still need kisses. Everybody needs kisses. So crocodiles need kisses too. I highly recommend.
Love it. Thank you.
Cute one.
So I'm going to run us around one more time and wave. We've got Sarah in the upper left. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
We've got Liz in the middle top, and Angie upper right, and Julia lower right. And in the middle we have Stacy. Please come to the Amy Van Andel Library, say hi to all of us, and ask for some book suggestions, and let us know what you're reading. Tune in next Tuesday for what we're reading to hear a local author talk about her book. We'll see you then.